Hi, welcome to this week's Thought for the Day from Broar Wisley. Have you ever seen the wind? Not just felt it, not just heard it, actually seen it. Years ago, I lived in a house overlooking a lake. When storms rolled in, you could see sheets of rain racing down the valley and waves being whipped up on the surface of the lake. You couldn't see the wind itself, but you could clearly see its effects. That's exactly the kind of visible wind Peter encountered in Matthew's Gospel. The disciples had already been through an exhausting few days. They were grieving the death of John the Baptist. They'd spent long hours helping Jesus minister to huge crowds. Then they took part in the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000. Emotionally and physically, they were drained. And Jesus sent them ahead in a boat while he remained behind. At first, that might have seemed like a chance to rest. Instead, a storm erupted. For hours they battled the wind and waves. By the early hours of the morning they were soaked, exhausted, frightened, and struggling to stay on course. Then, through the darkness, they saw a figure walking towards them on the water. Terrified, they thought it was a ghost. But Jesus immediately called out, "Take heart, it is I. Don't be afraid." There's actually a deeper meaning in those words. They can be understood as, "Take heart, I am is here." The same God who revealed himself to Moses as being, "I am who I am," was present with them in the middle of the storm. That's when Peter did something extraordinary. "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." Jesus simply said, "Come." And Peter stepped out of the boat. For a few remarkable moments, he did the impossible. He walked on water. But then he noticed that visible wind. He saw the crashing waves. He saw the spray flying. He became aware of the violence of the storm around him. His focus shifted from Jesus to the problem. Fear replaced faith. Panic replaced trust. And he began to sink. How often does that happen to us? We start out trusting God, but then we focus on the storm instead. We stare at the anxiety, the uncertainty, the disappointment, the bad news, the financial pressure, the health concern. Before long, the waves can loom bigger than the God who called us. Yet the most beautiful part of the story is not Peter walking on the water. It's what happens when Peter begins to sink. The Bible says that Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him. Immediately. Not after Peter got himself together. Not after he proved his faith. Not after the storm ended. Jesus immediately reached out and held him. Peter was saved not because his faith was exceptionally strong, but because the Christ he trusted was strong enough to hold him. The lesson is simple but life-changing. Our hope doesn't depend on the strength of our faith. It depends on the strength of the one in whom we place our faith. Like Peter, we all face visible winds. We all encounter storms that threaten to overwhelm us. But the good news is that Jesus doesn't wait for the storm to end before coming near. He comes to us in the middle of it. And today, he still speaks the same words. Take heart, I am is here. Do not be afraid. And when our faith feels weak, his grip remains strong. Remember that his hand is still strong enough to hold you. Thank you for listening. God bless you. See you next time.